Before that, let's take a quick preview through the Blue Prism tool and just a slight introduction. Just we'll go through different topics. Let me go into the next slide. Okay, so these are the today's topic highlights. So first we'll go look at the what actually is Blue Prism Robotic Automation. I think this has already been shared with in the demo class, or I will explain it. Just a quick introduction, and we'll look to Process Studio, how the Process Studio looks like. So here we define the process, the automation program that we need to make, and how to run a process that we created in Blue Prism. What are the basic skills? So basic skills are really simple. There is nothing rocket science in it. So it's just, in Blue Prism, it's really simple to code, and how to validate, how to correct the errors. And today we'll familiarize how to use two couple of stages, which is a decision stage and calculation stage. And we'll do some calculations, some addition, multiplication, some basic operations to just familiarize how the tool behaves. And we'll see some of the data items, not all of them, some of the data items that is used inside Blue Prism. There are a lot of stages inside Blue Prism, but if you go through all of them today, it will be slightly confusing. So I have took decision and calculation stage for now. So let me open my Blue Prism screen. Just hold on for a second. Yep, I hope everyone can see my screen. So this is Blue Prism screen. Once we log into the Blue Prism, you can see the dashboard, which shows the workforce availability, how many robots all are already available for you to work, and the total processes and objects that you have created. So in my system, we have around 103 processes and 63 objects. So we'll come to know what all these processes and objects and what are the purposes of that. And the work queues, which will also come on the later stage of the session. And Blue Prism, as you all know, uses the SQL database. So Blue Prism connect to an underlying SQL database to show whatever the data that Blue Prism uses, and these are the volume of the data or the data table. So if the script's increasing, you have to find some way to back up those database. But you don't have to be worrying about all this now. So let's go ahead and take a quick intro to what actually Blue Prism is. So Blue Prism Robotic Automation, so that's what we are looking at now. So robotic automation refers to process automation, where computer software drives existing enterprise application software in the same way that a user does. For example, a user is doing some SAP operation or SAP operation, which some of you might be familiar. Or let me make it more simple. So for example, a user is logging into Facebook, doing some operation inside that. So it's kind of for example, if it's a recursive kind of operation, so it's like he's logging into the Facebook or sending some messages to one particular guy logging out of the Facebook. So he's doing it every single day, the same operation. So the recursive task is nothing that the human should do, because the human should do some cognitive task where he or she should use his or her brain. So all the recursive tasks can be communicated or can be transferred into a robot. So robot will be able to do whatever recursive task a man is doing in his office or in a day-to-day life or day-to-day job. So there is one difference in Blue Prism, is that the Blue Prism does not integrate or does not disassemble the application that it is trying to automate. So it just sits besides the application and communicate with the application as the user does. For example, if a user wants to click a button, the Blue Prism will move the mouse pointer to on top of the button and click on that. So if a user wants to read a particular table from the application, so Blue Prism will extract that table. So there's no need of disassembling the application in order for Blue Prism to automate. So Blue Prism sit besides from that. So without integrating right into the application. So that's the major advantage the Blue Prism has. So next we'll move on to the next topic, which is the Process Studio. So processes are created in an area called Process Studio, which I'll show you. So in order to take Process Studio, you have to go to the Studio tab on top of it. And you can see two categories. So first is processes, and the next category comes the objects. So if you want to create an object, you can come over here, right click, and select the option, create an object that will create you an object inside Blue Prism. And same in the case of processes, if you want to create a process, right click and create a process. So it will ask you for a name of the process. So first of all, I'll give a name or sample name to the process. If there is any problem with my audio or if you are not able to see my screen, just drop me a line or just give me a shout. Okay, let me give a name to it. After giving name of the process, just give a slight description. So it is always better to give a description because if another developer is trying to open the process, he'll be able to know what actually we are planning to do inside this process. So let me give a description for this process. Yeah, process has been created over here, as you can see down below. I'll highlight the process. So this is a process that we just created right now. So if you want to open the process, just double click on top of that. And this will bring up the process studio that we are going to talk about. So this will be the process studio that we develop all the processes over here by using the stages and the links that is available on the left hand side, which is also called the tool set. So I believe most of you have seen a VCO diagram. So Blue Prism process diagram looks almost like a VCO diagram, which has a start and end stage over here and here, and we bring all the stages, a decision or action or a calculation, whatever the stages will be in between the start and the end stage. So it's just look like as a VCO diagram. I think most of you have seen a VCO diagram. So that's why Blue Prism development is much more simpler when compared to other tools. So you can draw out an automation program rather than writing a whole set of codes. So this is why Blue Prism is able to, is able to be learned by business people and technical people. And if you know a little bit of coding, you can do some advanced stuff, which we'll cover in the later sessions. So this is basically the process studio that we have over here. Any questions so far? Okay, I believe we are good to move forward. No questions so far. So Process Studio are created in an area of Blue Prism named I'm sorry. Processes are created in an area of Blue Prism named Process Studio, which as well we see down here looks similar to other process modeling applications, which I said such as MS-VCO, and uses the standard flow diagram symbols and notation. So if you're familiar with the standard flow diagram symbols, then this development will be much more easier. So the key difference with the Blue Prism diagram is that it is not an inert two-dimensional representation of a process. So rather than it is a graphical representation of a working computer program. So once you drag and drop a decision stage or a calculation stage or whatever the diagram elements, an underlying code will be generated behind it. But you don't have to be worried about this. Blue Prism will automatically generate the code. So all you have to worry about is that you have to draw a meaningful diagram in this page down here. So we'll create a sample program with some stage over here. So let's go for the decision stage and the calculation stage, and we'll create a sample flow, and let's see how a Blue Prism process, how to create a Blue Prism process. So we have a start and end stage over here. I think what's written in my start and end stage is clear to everyone, or else I'll try to make it a little more bigger. So I'll make it 16, and I'll zoom a little bit so that it becomes a little more visible. I have a big screen down here, so you guys might have some difficulty viewing my screen. All right, so let's put a calculation stage for now, and we'll do some addition. We'll do an addition of two numbers. All right, so all the stages in the process studio or in the process is connected by the link stage or the link tool. So you can click and drag to the next stage to connect between two stages. And a kind information to all the attendees: if you're not using the mic, please mute it, otherwise it's gonna disturb the class. Thank you very much. We have a calculation stage down here. I have drawn a link from a start stage to calculation stage. Now I'm going to draw one more link from the calculation stage to the end stage. So one of the important things that you should obey while developing a process is that you should give a name to each and every stage inside the process. So you don't have to actually give the name to start and end stage, but rest whatever stages you just drag and drop it over here, you have to give it a name. That's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, if you're trying to if your process diagram has around 10 different calculation stage, and the Blue Prism will throw out an error saying that there is something wrong with the calculation stage, and you'll be spending one whole day finding which calculation stage has the error. So always name your stages before you execute your process. So I'm going to name this calculation stage as addition. Okay, and we are going to add two numbers down here. So I didn't say how we get this dialog box. So in order to get the properties or the properties of that particular stage, you can right click on top of that stage and take the properties. That's one method of doing it. And another easier method is that go on top of it, double click on that, and you'll get the properties window or the calculation properties where you give the name, description, or whatever the expression that you need out there. So expression, I'm going to put a very simple expression, which will be 3 plus 2. And you can press the validate button to validate it. So the Blue Prism is trying to show an error saying that the stage store result does not exist. This is a kind of validation option available in Blue Prism. Means that the store result there's a text box which is shown over here. So we have to assign the value of 3 plus 2 to some data item over here. So we haven't actually seen what's the data item. So let's quickly drag and drop one single data item, and we'll discuss the data item in detail before we wind up the class. So data item, I just dragged and dropped the data item. So in order to bring the stage to the process diagram, just click and drag and drop to the grid. And I'm just making it a little bigger so that everyone will be able to see. And in order to take the properties, as I said, right click, take the properties, or just double click on top of that will bring them the properties. So instead of data one, do not put the data one as it is in the process diagram. Always give a name to it. So data one will be, I'm going to give a name as result. Okay, I've given the name. So data type, we have a bunch of data types in Blue Prism, which is date, date time, flag, number, password, and there is a lot of them. So we'll familiarize with each one of them while we move on to next sessions, and we don't look all these in at once. So first of all, let's see how the number data item will behave. So the result of 3 plus 2 will be a number. So I'm going to select the data type as number. And if you have any initial value, as for example, if you give it 3, while the process runs, the process will take the value as 3 if the data item is used in anywhere in the expression. So I'm not making more complex or complicated description. So let's keep it more simple. So we have given a name to the data item, and we have selected the data type. And there is nothing in the current value or the initial value. And let's see how the value is being populated. All right, so we have created a result data item. Let me open this. Okay, so 3 plus 2, we have to store it in a result. So store result in, and we have a text box down here, and we have to store the result in the result data item. So either you can type it result down here and validate, and says the expression is valid because we have the expression and the place where we want to store. And since we are very lazy guys and we don't want to type each and everything, so Blue Prism offers a drag and drop feature for each and everything. So drag and drop the stages, drag and drop the data items. So we have the data items listed down here. So these are the data types, and we have created one data item under the data type number. So that's why there is an expansion symbol down here. So press on that, and just click and drag the data item on top of the text box. So store result in the result data item. And that's it. If you want to provide any description to this calculation, you can provide. So what the calculation is actually doing in the form of text. So once any other developers opens and checks, they will be able to know what are you planning to do. But the description, we don't actually fill it always. We always name it. So the name symbolizes what actually is being done inside the particular stage. So I'm going to press OK. So 3 plus 2 is 5. The result 5 should be stored inside the result data item. I'm press OK. And before we run the process, we have to press the reset button. So reset button will release the memory, release the objects that's being held into the internal memory. So it's always better to press the release button, and yeah, not the release button, the reset button. Sorry about that. And the reset button. And in order to run the process, you have to press the go button. This is also called as a run button. So when we press the run or the go button, the process starts from here at the start stage, moves forward to the addition stage, and writes back the result to the result data item, and then goes to the end stage. And let me press the play button or the go button first, and the status gets highlighted, and it's going to the addition, and the result is stored, and it's going to the end stage. And the status of the window has been changed to completed right now. So as on the top, you can see it's written completed. If there is any error, it shows as failed. All right, this is a very simple exercise that we can do in the tool. Let me know if you have any questions so far.
Hi Raj, do we have to reset each time we make a changes to this particular process?
Uh, yes. So it's always better to reset. It's not restart, it's reset. So if you want to run the process from the beginning, you can press the reset.
Hmm.
So, but keep in mind the reset will actually reset all the values inside the data item. So for example,
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
there is one, I can see the save button as well. So if I make changes and then I save it, won't and I don't press the reset button and I just play go. So won't it run the process then? Uh,
Yes. There is not, so the reset and save is completely different. Save will actually save
hmm.
the process or whatever the change that you make inside the Blue Prism. Reset is completely different. So as you can see, if you are running a very big process and you are using a different data items over here, and these data items will be filled with values. And if you want to
Okay,
run with a fresh set of values, you have to press reset. There's nothing to do with the changes that you make in the diagram. It's due to the values that populates in the data item.
okay.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions from anybody else? So we have seen a decision stage. So a process will rarely follow a single path along a straight line, and we are likely to want to give our process the option to make decision and to travel one way or the other. So if you want your process to make decisions at a one particular point of time, we can use the decision stage. So that's what we are going to see next, how the decision stage will work. So we have seen the calculation stage. Now we'll add a decision stage. So in order to delete this particular arrow, go on top of it, click and press the delete button on your keyboard, and that will delete it. And in order to bring the decision stage, okay, where is it? Yeah, here it is. The decision stage is the diamond shaped thing. Just drag and drop it into your drawing grid. All right, I just made it a little bigger and draw an arrow to the decision stage, and we'll add two outbound arrows after we put some expressions over here. Okay, okay, we'll decide something like result. Let it be there. We'll first fill the expression. So we want to check if the result is greater than 4. So result is greater than 4, so we have to write an expression like whatever the value comes inside the result and a greater than symbol and the number 4. So in order to represent a data item inside the expression, you can expand the numbers part. Just click on the result just like we did before, drag and drop to the expression region. So this will take the value inside the result. So we have 5 down here, and I'm going to press or give a greater than symbol and 4. So this will check like 5 greater than 4. And let me validate it. The expression is valid. It's always better to validate before you close and run the process. You can also test the result or test the expression by using the evaluate expression button. So once you press the evaluate expression, it will give you the option to put some test values and see the outcome of what's happening. So I'm going to give 5 and I'm going to test it. It gives a true. So whatever the expression we write inside the decision stage should either result to true or false. It should not give some value like 10, 20 or some text expression. It always should result to either true or false. So that's the one thing that you should keep in mind while writing expression. inside the decision stage. So I'm going to give it as 3 to check whether it's working, and it's giving false because 3 is not greater than 4. So this is working completely fine. So this is how you evaluate the expression. So one validate button press will give you, says that the expression is valid. And so this valid button will find out the schoolboy errors if there is anything wrong with the expression. And this will actually evaluate and show the results, or you can test the result of the expression. So this is done. So now we have to give a name to it. We should not give like decision 1 or decision 2 or decision 3. We should give exactly what's inside the expression. So I'm going to give what's exactly given inside the expression so that we don't have to open this decision stage each time if you have any doubts. So once we read the name, we came to know what will be the expression inside it. So I'm going to give it result greater than 4 and press OK. That's it. And there will be 2 arrows coming out from the decision stage. So I'm going to put one more end stage towards the right. And the first arrow you draw out from the decision stage will point to the true condition or the yes condition. So as you can see, there is a small yes down here. And the second arrow you draw out from the decision stage will show the false condition or the no condition. But doesn't matter if you want to change at any particular point of time. You can just go on top of the arrow, right click and press click and just select switch, and it will switch between the true and false condition. Or you can go on top of the decision stage, right click and switch. It will switch between the two condition, true or false. All right, so let's reset. Reset will reset the value. So the number 5 will be vanished right now. If we press reset, there won't be any values in the data item. So I'm going to press reset. And so if you press reset, the control will go to the start. Otherwise, if you play, if you just press play, it will not go because it might be in somewhere between some of the stages. So if you press reset button, it'll come back to the start stage and start running from the beginning. So I'm going to press the reset a couple of times, and I'm going to run this. Petition, yes, that's it, end of the process. Because it's 5 is greater than 4, that's why it's going to the right hand side end, which shows the true condition. So I'll change the expression to something like 1 plus 1. Okay, and reset and run this. Yes, now it has moved to the end stage down below. So that's how a decision stage will work. So we have a very small expression down here. So the expression will be very big. So it can be one bunch of a sentence down here. So this is the smallest expression that we could write in the decision stage. Just for familiarizing how this works. Do we have any questions on this part? Okay, I think we are clear to this part. But here we have been using 2 numbers. We are hard coding 2 numbers. Let's use 2-3 data items and just do some operations down here. So we'll put one operand 1 and operand 2, and we'll add those numbers using data items, of course. We won't be hard coding values inside the calculation stage or a decision stage. Everything will be stored inside a data item. So if you even save the process, if you save the process, the values inside the initial value will be stayed over there, and the current value. For example, if you have run the process and the result over here is stored as 2, and if you save this process and reopen the process once again, the value will not be there. So whatever the initial value we provide over here will stays once we save and reopen. So initial value will always be there, but the current value will not be there, because the current value is obtained from the result of the execution of that process. So once you press the reset button, the current value will vanish, and if you close and reopen the process, you won't see the current value, but the initial value will always be there. But we haven't provided any initial value down here. But let's see how we can provide an initial value and perform the addition. So I'm going to name this data as operand 1 and data type as number. So let's be a little quick. And initial value is 2. And let's give this as number operand 2 and give us 4. And press OK. Yeah, we have operand 1 and operand 2, and we have to add and keep that result to the result data item. Yes. All right, let me remove this expression. And as I said before, if you want to add values into data items over here, you can either write the name over here in the expression, but most of them won't write it. It's easier to drag and drop. So I have just drag and drop the operand 1. I'm going to put a plus symbol in order to add it, and drag and drop the second operand, which is operand 2. And the result, which will always be there, so it's always there, or you can just drag and drop result. Okay, I'm using data items instead of numbers down here, and press OK. You have everything. So operand 1 and operand 2 have initial values, but it's not showing over here. But if you press the reset button, you can see the numbers, which is the initial values of 1 and 2. So I'm going to press a reset button. As you can see, it's showing 2 and 4. Let me make it a little bigger so that it will be a little easier for you to read. So 18, okay, much better, I guess. Operand 1 has 2, operand 2 has 4. So I'll reset and I'll run this. And okay, I'll change the decision as well. So result greater than 4, instead of 4, I'll use operand 2 and press OK. So if you have any doubt in the expression, you can use validate and test the result using the evaluate button. Test false, which is working fine. Press OK. And before you run the process, try to reset it. And press the play button and result and the decision. All right, do we have any questions?
Yeah, Raj, actually, is this Blue Prism case sensitive? If in the expression, if I use a small o while compiling the decision, so will it work?
No, it will not work because Blue Prism is case sensitive. For example, so if you're planning to give a small o and validate, it says that missing data operand 1.
So we need to use the exact same which is given, which we have given, right?
Yes,
The
correct.
same, like, okay, okay.
Yeah. So it's always better to drag and drop so that you won't make any mistakes. So if you're typing it, make sure that you type the exact same name of what you have given in the data item. Do we have any other questions coming from anybody else? All I can hear is some noise from somebody. I was not looking at the chat box for a while. Let me check if there is any questions. Yeah, no, nothing from anybody. All right, so we have one more thing pending from our today's topic is process validation. So we have seen on the process studio how to run a process, um, and the basic skills is just connecting two different stages using the arrows, how to drag and drop the stages, how to connect, start and end stage, how to, yeah. And process validation is one thing pending from now. So decision stage we have seen with a very basic example, and the calculation stage. Data item, we have seen a number data item. So let's go ahead and quickly check what's a process validation. So here, as you can see, every process, for example, Visual Studio has its own compiler. So you can check for errors and correct it. So here, Blue Prism, there is a small button over here. It says 0 errors. So if you press over here, it will list out all the errors that you have in your process, the complete process. So in here, we have only one page, which is the main page. In a real project scenario, we have a lot many pages. So it will list out all the errors. So once you press the reset button, it will list out all the errors that are currently present. For example, I am going to delete this particular arrow or the true condition from the result from the decision stage, and I'm going to press the reset button, and it's showing one error, and let me open it. So it's saying that result greater than 4, which is the stage name, and the type is error, and action is validate. So no link when the decision is true. So the Blue Prism is saying like there is no link to follow if the decision is true. So once you double click on top of that error, it will take you, or it will highlight that particular stage. So this is how you validate the errors inside the Blue Prism. So Blue Prism always recommends to keep on validating the errors before you save the process. For example, so if you are doing one big project, and if you are going to keep around 50 or 100 errors, and at the end of the project, if you want to run the process in production, it will not, the people will not allow if it has errors. So you have to spend at least a week correcting the errors. So it's always a best practice to correct the errors while you keep on developing. So I have a couple of questions coming in the chat box. So can we use current value and store in data item? So I didn't actually get that question. So current value will be used while running the process, and it will be it's not a permanent store, it's a temporary store, but initial value is a permanent store. It will be permanently stored out there. If you want to permanently store some value, you can use a notepad or an Excel file, open it and store it. Next time, if when you run the process, open the notepad or an Excel file, bring in the values to Blue Prism and run it. So there is no temporary place or a permanent place to store or store the running value, or the value that is obtained while running the process. Yes, so can we add more pages to Process Studio? Yes, we can add more pages to the Process Studio. So this is the main page, as you can see down here. So if you want to add a new page, just right click on this ribbon and click new, and you can name for whatever page name you want. You have to name the page as well. So page 1, so it will, so by default the start and end stage will always be there. And a new page 2, yeah, like that. So when you run the process, it always start from the main page start stage. It will not go and run the page 1 and page 2. You have to put a page reference in order to refer to page 1 and 2. So those all we'll discuss in oncoming sessions. So can we validate more than one expression in expression box in decision box? Okay, that's a big sentence. Yes, we can validate more than one expression. So for example, result greater than operand 2, and for let me write one more, and result greater than operand 1. Evaluate the expression that will show you operand 1 and 2. So we can write a number of expressions down here. We can increase it. And or logical and or logical or, you can use either of the two to concatenate multiple expressions and just reach into one result, either true or false. The thing you have to keep in mind is that it should either point to true or false. Do we have any other questions? I think we have completed what all the topics that we have for today. So we have seen an introduction of the Prism Robotic Automation. We've seen how the Process Studio looks like, how to run a process, and the basic skills. And we have also seen now the process validation and the decision stage, calculation stage, and data items. And I think I've cleared all the queries in the chat box. If not, you can send it right now. So I would also like to show you, just a minute. So can we write an expression like A plus B, um, A plus B, because we cannot add a number data. So if you're writing A plus B, we cannot add a number data item to a text expression. So if you're writing something in a double quotes, it takes like a text expression, and we cannot write A like that. For example, let me show you, let me clear it inside a calculation stage. So if A is a number, for example, okay, A is a number. So we have a data item as A. I guess that's what you mean. So I'll create a data item as A and number, and B is text type. Okay, no, we cannot actually add a number data item with the text data item. It will throw an error. So I'll show you. So it's a number A, and let's create a text data item. So text data item. So I've been going here on the grid, right click and create a data item. You can create a data item from here as well. Go on top of the text category, right click, add new as child. We'll create a data item and name it like whatever B is the text data item, and B, it will throw an error saying that your expression does not appear valid. Can or add a number to a number. Yes. I hope that makes it clear. Sridhar, I got a question from Sridhar. Could you repeat how to connect to cloud? I didn't say how to connect to cloud. I didn't get your question. Can you rephrase it? Because we are not discussing anything related to cloud. No, we can convert. Yes, there is an option. So there are inbuilt functions inside the calculation, like, so the functions are listed down below, as you can see the functions, and inside that there is conversion, and in that you can use to number, and you can put B over here to number, drag and drop B on that text box and paste. So it's like A plus to number and B. Whatever the expression you have, whatever the inbuilt expressions, it's already there inside the function. You don't have to by heart all these things. Okay, the result. Okay, I'll put some result. Okay, result. And now it says the expression is valid because we have converted it to number. Yes, it's available. Any further questions? Before that, I would like to show you a short. Hold on a second. I'd like to show you a short video of a POC which I've done. So this is I believe everyone is familiar with IRCTC, and I'll just show you a quick automation of how to book a Tatkal ticket in around 20 seconds, I guess. I hope everyone has tried. So it's a very short video. I hope it's interesting to you guys. So this is a video down here. Can you press the play button? Okay. It's very fast. So it's open the IRCTC logged in, typing the from and to station, booking the ticket, writing the name of the passenger, and scrolling down, writing the captcha, moving forward, making the payment, and that's it. Done. So it all happens in 16 seconds. So all that we have to book a ticket. So that's a short video to keep this more interesting. Do we have any further questions from anybody? Okay, that's it for today's session. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining today's class. Let's see you on the next class with new topics and some advanced topics. Not advanced, some new topics. Yeah. All right. See you all guys tomorrow. Good night.